Hi everybody, welcome back to another video about predetermined tracks. Now I made a four-part series on predetermined tracks I'm going to assume that you saw, in which I explained how to do the desired to the head plus 30 or tail to the desired plus 30. I'm not going to go over that again. This video is only about one thing, and that is how to set up a Garmin 430 to intercept a particular track. This video is aimed primarily at my students in the Selkirk College Aviation program who will be learning to use the Garmin 430 to do predetermined tracks, but anyone with the Garmin 430 may be interested, so feel free to watch and see if you pick up any tips along the way. Right now we're flying around in the area around Bellingham, Washington, Abbotsford, British Columbia. We're just along the coast. You can see the ocean just off to the right, the land off to the left. This is the Bellingham Airport just ahead of us off to the left, and just back behind us to the left is the Abbotsford Airport. And we currently have the Vancouver VOR on the VOR, and we've got the Vancouver VOR on the active waypoint, but we're flying away from our track, just kind of randomly orbiting around out here, flying circles in the sky, waiting for the controller to give us a new clearance. And finally, the controller is ready to give us a clearance. He would like us to go to the White Rock Beacon on an inbound track of 330 degrees. So how are we going to get White Rock up here into our GPS? Process is really simple. We're going to use the nearest function. Right now we're on the nav pages right here, and so whenever you're on nav, moving map, just 3 clicks to the right on the big knob, 1, 2, 3, and we happen to be here on the nearest VOR. That's the last nearest page I was on, and so the page just before that is the nearest NDBs. So if I take the small knob, 1 click to the left, there's my nearest NDBs. And as a matter of fact, White Rock happens to be at the top of the list. It's only 5 miles away, and it's a track of 318, but the controller wants me to go in on 330, so I better hurry up and get tuned up and do that. So to do that, I tap the end of the button here once to turn the cursor on. If it wasn't already on the right spot, I can move the cursor around with the big knob, but it's already on the right spot, so all I have to do is hit direct once. I pause to make sure it does say White Rock, but it's the wrong course. It's 313, I want 330. So I move my cursor down here to 313, and I change that to 330. 330. Now I have to hit enter twice. So once it goes to activate, the second time we're done. Now you notice that it kicks us back to nav page 1, but even though we started on nav page 2, that's just what the Garmin does. So I like to go 1 click to the right to get myself back on. We see that the desired track here is 330, so I need to set my course here to 330. See the RMI over here, so I better turn real quick if I'm going to get on track. And so this part of it you saw last time, how to do the actual predetermined track. You can see just how quick and easy it was to get this tuned. I was kind of spending all my time talking, so we're almost at the beacon already, but that's fine. We're coming on the track now. I can maybe zoom in a little bit so you can see a bit better. One of the things I want you to really make sure you're doing is always picking a sensible scale. I've zoomed in to 5 because I'm only now less than 2 miles away from the station, so I can see it. You should always zoom your map to the point where you can see what you're trying to intercept. So we're coming on track now, and there we go, turning in. Of course, if I have a fancy autopilot like this, I should probably just put it in nav mode and let the autopilot track inbound for me. Okay, so let's say the controller changes his mind. He calls us up and says, actually, I'd like you to go to the Whatcom VOR inbound on, let's make it the 330 degree radial. Okay, so how am I going to get this on Whatcom? And not only that, I want to get this on Whatcom. So now I have 2 objectives. I want to change my GPS active waypoint to Whatcom, and I want to change my frequency to Whatcom. Now I could just tune the frequency over here, but I'm going to show us a slick and easy way to do that. So again, I have to go to the nearest page. That's 3 clicks, remember, 1, 2, 3, we're on the nearest. It's the nearest NDBs, so 1 click to the right is going to be the nearest VORs. And this time Whatcom again is at the top of the list. And it's currently 8.5 miles away, bearing 105. The controllers asked me to go inbound on the 330 degree radio, which is saying inbound course of 150. It even shows me the frequency right here, and that's what I'm going to take advantage of. So I turn the cursor on. If I hit direct right now, I'll make Whatcom the active waypoint, but I want to first tune this without actually tuning it. So I'm going to move my cursor over there and hit enter. Watch what happens down here in the standby frequency as soon as I hit enter. See? Put that frequency there for me. That saved me some work. What annoys me is that the cursor jumps down to the next one, so I have to bring it back over here. So I make sure I've got, oh, you see that? It just swapped over because now I'm technically slightly closer to Pitt Meadows than I am to Whatcom, so I have to go after it again. Okay, there we go. Get my cursor on top of Whatcom and hit direct once. It comes up on Whatcom, but it's not the course I want. So I move this down here and change this course to 150 because that's what the controller asked me to do. 150, move the cursor over, change that to a 0. And there we go, 150. It's going to be 2 clicks on enter. 1 click it goes to activate. Second click it comes up. Some of you may notice that the desired track is wrong there, but let me first go to nav page 2 because I want to really emphasize something important here. Well, let me put it back on heading mode so I can manually fly this for you. The desired track that we want is 150, and you saw me put 150 in there, and yet this comes up on 152, which is not what we want. Sometimes happens. It's just the way the Garmin calculates tracks. So I'm going to show you how to manually correct that. Show you also with the scale zoomed in at 5, I can't even see my course. This is terrible. I should zoom out to where I can see it. See, there it is over there. It's over on my right side. I need to go over there to the right. So I need to do 2 things. I need to correct this to 150. To do that, put it in OBS mode. And now I have manual control here, see? And then set this accurately to 150. It's a little hard to do on the computer simulation, easier to do in a real airplane. So there we go. That's better. Now I can do my predetermined track. So here's my head. So desired to the head plus 30. I'll turn over here to a heading of about 090 and go and intercept it. Everything is good now. But I do have to remember that because I had to manually correct this, I had to put it in OBS mode, which means that if I actually had a flight plan in there, it wouldn't cycle to the next waypoint. So at some point I'm going to want to take it out of OBS mode. But sometimes you've got to be a bit careful not to do that too soon. Let's just see what happens if I take it out. Yeah, see, it jumps back to the wrong course. I'll put it back in OBS mode, but when you get a little closer, that problem will go away. Okay, so there we are. That was the second PDT, and I'm so busy talking that I forgot to do what I should do down here, which is really important. I should hit the exchange button there to make Whatcom now the active frequency on the VLOG side. So now this is good. I've got Whatcom on the VLOG side, Whatcom on the GPS side. Got my moving map scale set reasonable so I can see, you can see the Whatcom VOR over here. See myself heading up towards the track. The magenta line is the track I'm trying to intercept. I have very good situational awareness. That was good. Okay, so now let's say the controller calls us up and he says that he would like us, instead of going to Whatcom, go to the Mixax intersection on a course of 150. Okay, so that's something you can't do with a VOR, but you can do it with the GPS. So again, 3 clicks to the right brings us up to the nearest page, the nearest VOR, because that's where we were at last time. So I think it's 2 clicks to the left, 1 click takes me 80 up, next click takes me to the nearest intersections. And we've got to find Mixax on the list here. It's not showing right now. Hopefully it's one of the nearest 10. Let's turn the cursor on and scroll through looking for Mixax. Maybe it's not going to be on the list here. And so that sometimes happens too. Okay, so it looks like MixAx is not on the list. So the nav page, oops. So we're going to have to do it the hard way. You have to hit direct and put in MixAx here. Okay, so there's MixAx. So we're going to hit enter once. Now notice that it wants to take us there on a course of 173, so I might want to just back up there and change that to 150 since that's what the controller asked me to do. And then hit enter and activate. So there we are. We got the track of 150. I should set this if it's not already set, but it's already set. You can see the RMI needle pointing, so I'll just turn over here and do the intercept. And we're on our way to MixAx now. And zoom the map so that you can actually see MixAx. As we turn around, I can see MixAx. It's over there. It's going to be passing across my nose momentarily. So you can see on the moving map, it's coming across your nose. You can see the RMI needle coming around, and it'll show it passing the nose. Here's the course in magenta. And so I turn over there, and this is obviously a good intercept. I can see it on the HSI, and I can see it on the moving map. Okay, so it's just as simple as that. You can watch this video a few times, pick up the different tips and tricks, things to look out for, how to tune the VOR frequency without actually tuning the VOR frequency, using the nearest page. 9 out of 10 times, whatever the controller's asked you to intercept is probably one of the nearest things. But if it's not one of the nearest things, which you saw in the case of MixAx, it was probably just off the end of that list of intersections. You can always put it in manually. Setting the desired track before you activate is the slickest way to do it. It avoids the need to use OBS mode. That's particularly valuable with the GTN series because the OBS button is hidden on the GTN series. It's much better to set the course the way I demonstrated in this video, okay, rather than using the OBS button. But sometimes you do have to use the OBS button as you saw it to correct. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed this video. See you again next time.